Okay, let's come to the ER model. Now, what are the different notations? So, we have, most importantly, we have an entity. An entity is an object that can be differentiated from other objects. It is a very, very important definition. You need to understand it very clearly. An entity is an object that can be differentiated from other objects. You can only create two different entities if they have their independent existence, if you have some kind of differences between them. For example, okay, uh, for example, let's say I have an entity car. Now I have different kinds of cars. That doesn't mean I'll form all those different cars as different entities. No, all of them will be grouped together into that entity set which I'll name as car. Of course, different cars can have different models, different colors, different mileage, but all these things are the properties of that entity, which are the attributes. I can write all this information in different fields, right, which will become the attributes of that entity. I don't need to have different entities for defining different cars. Okay. Whereas when talking about a student and a faculty, I need to have two different entities. Why? Because a student will be participating in a course in a different manner. A faculty will be participating in a course in a different manner. So they will be, one important thing, they will be participating with a certain entity in different manners. Second important thing, they have a lot of differences between them. Faculty is teaching, student is learning from the course. Okay, student has a different role, faculty has a different role. Okay, so that is how you identify different entities while developing an ER model. Okay.
Ma'am, how do we see, like, how can you give an example of attribute, how to see in database?
Yes. So, what is an attribute actually? Attribute is basically all the fields of data you want to store for a particular entity. Okay, what have I written in the slide? Characteristics or properties of an entity. But which properties? Only the properties in which you are interested in. Only the properties you want to store for an entity. For example, when talking about a car entity, what is the information I want to store for that particular car? Okay, I want to store the car color, I want to store car model, I want to store the car, you can say company, right? I want to store the mileage, I want to store what is the you can say road clearance, right? All those things which I want to store, only those will be the attributes. Okay, what is the information I want to store for that car in the database? Okay, and all that information will be in different categories. So those categories are actually the attributes. Those characteristics or properties of an entity will be the attributes. Is it clear?
And the values filled in attributes would be called records?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. So for a record management system or a relational model, you have the tables which are called as your relational tables, right? And that all like every table is synonymous to the entity, and it is also synonymous to a file in the file management system that we discussed. Okay, and in that file, okay, in that file, every you can say record that you keep, every line of information that you write, that is synonymous to the line of information you are writing in your table. Every entry that you make in your table, that is your record. Okay, so the attributes will have only limited amount of values, right? For example, let's say I have the entity as student, then the attribute name, name is one of the attributes. Now the name will have the values which are ranging for all the student names in a class, right? All the student names for whom I'm storing the records. But that name is not the record, right? That name is not the record. The entire student record will be the entire row of the information for that particular table. Along with that student name, what are the other things that I'm storing? I'm storing the age of the student, I'm storing the contact number, I'm storing, let's say, the course id in which the course id the person student has taken. Generally we don't add the course id there and then. If let's say the student is taking multiple courses, which students do take generally, then we don't connect it there and then. We actually connect it in a different manner. Like, if of course, if let's say if we talk about that, okay, students are taking only single course, every student is taking a single course, then we can connect it using the course id there and then. But important thing to note over here, coming back to your question, the record will be the entire row of information in that table about that student. Okay.
Okay, so the all horizontal values will be the record.
Yeah, one particular row in that table, that is your record. Okay, if you want to see attribute values, that will be the column values for a particular column.
Okay, ma'am.
And the column values can repeat for multiple rows, right? For example, take an example of gender as the attribute. Okay, now there'll be multiple males and females in the class, right? But what will be the attribute values for gender? There'll be only two values, male and female, right? But when
Yes.
writing the record for each and every student, this value will repeat, because if I have written the first entry as male and the second student is male again, I'll have to write male again, right? So M repeats twice in this case. So the attribute values may repeat, that is not a problem. That is why we have only certain amount of primary key attributes. Not all attributes are primary key attributes. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, coming to the entity set. I was on the entity set point actually. So it is collection of similar entities represented by similar characteristics. Okay, can you have an entity set which combines your student and teacher or student and faculty into one? Can you have any common entity set for them? Think about this.
Student to class and class to student.
No, no. My question was, see, entity sets. What is an entity set? Collection of similar entities represented by similar characteristics, right? So, if I say that, okay, you have five faculty members in the university, all of them will be represented by a single entity set, faculty, right? Is it clear?
Sorry, ma'am.
So, if you have five faculty members in your university, all of them will be represented by a single entity set, faculty.
Yes, ma'am.
You will not have multiple entity sets. Now, you will not say faculty 1, faculty 2, faculty 3, faculty 4, faculty 5. You will have
Yes,
only
ma'am.
one entity set. You will have only one table, faculty table, where you will store the details of all the faculty members, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, for students, you will have only one entity set where you will keep the details of all the student entities. Are you able to understand this notation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now my question was, think, can you have any common entity set which is able to capture uh, or which is able to generalize both a student and a faculty?
A relationship between them.
No, I'm talking about entity set. I'm
But
asking you,
entity is a group of entities.
ha. So if I say I club all the faculty members and students together to form a
Yes, ma'am.
third entity set, what can you
Okay.
call that entity set?
Okay.
I have answered my question itself. Now you just tell me the name of that entity set. You just need to give it a name. Have you studied the concept of journalization?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, so then look for that. Write down journalization. Look for that. We are going to discuss it, but since it was coming related to what we are discussing, I mentioned about it. So you can always generalize your entity sets. What is generalization basically? What did I say? That okay, I clubbed the faculty members and students together in an entity set. What can I call that entity set? I can call that entity set as person, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Both
ma'am.
of them are person, right? They can have some common attributes. So do get started with ChatGPT and other Gen AI applications available to support your daily work tasks. Do comment and let me know how you use or plan to use Gen AI applications to support your work. And stay tuned to learn more about the fundamentals of Gen AI, and machine learning in the coming videos. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified for these new videos. Thank you.